So let's start with today's topic. Does God exist? What do you think? We just have 1 hour left, so let's do this quickly. I want your cooperation to do this quickly, right? So, don't wait for others to, speak up. If you
Yes, he does.
contribute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So pretty strange question for pe- putting forward to people who are actually joining a Bhagavad Gita class. So yes, of course, you guys believe that God exists and therefore you are part of this class, right? But here today we'll also learn and see uh, if you have to actually convince someone else, right? Because there are so many people, and particularly today in India, there are so many who, quote unquote, claim themselves to be agnostics or, atheist, although they themselves deep down may not be such, right? And it's just a, few simple questions we can ask them, which will help us, be able to communicate that yes, God exists. And there are certain questions, tricky questions, which people throw at you, which might shake your faith also. So how to deal with those, right? So let's look at this. So we'll start with the story. Before the age of internet, there was the age of barbers. So they would give all the news to people, while I'm sure ladies may not have the similar experience, but at least men. I don't know if you have the same experience in parlors. So the barbers used to talk a lot, and they would give the entire news of what's happening around to the person they are shaving or cutting hair off. So this barber basically, he was an atheist, or he thought he was an atheist. And one day what happened was, there was a devotee, there was someone who was sorry, just a second. Can you attach it there? My system is also about to die. I will need to. Oh, अच्छा अच्छा sorry. Okay, ठीक है, continue. ठीक है, इस पे लगा दो. Sorry for that. So he was, so this barber basically, one day, a person, someone in saffron robes, he walked in like, please shave me, right? Or he was basically a devotee. So he understood that this person is a man of God, and he started cutting his hair slowly. And he could not control his emotions, like God does not exist, and this guy, I'm cutting his hair, and he's basically a man who believes in God. So he wanted to speak. And he was discussing so many things here and there, and finally he spilled it out, what he wanted to say. So he said, you know what, actually I think God does not exist. So the devotee looked at him. It's like, oh, why? So he said, if you just look outside, you just
பாண்டுரங்கனாச்சி கூப்பிடுறாரு.
okay, just mute.
ஹலோ பாண்டுரங்கனாச்சி கூப்பிடுறாரு, உள்ள வா.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, where was I was so basically he spilled the beans. He said, I don't think God exists. Just look outside, there are so many people suffering, right? There are so many people sleeping hungry, right? If God existed, right, he would solve for all these problems. There is so much evil in the world today, right? So much evil. If God existed, none of this would have happened, right? Where is your God? He said. What do you think is the answer? Someone says to you, oh, tsunami happened, right? So many people died together, right? Where was God? Right? There's so much suffering. And actually, during the World War, particularly in Russia, there are so many, women who became widows, right? Because so many people died. And because of all that, they actually accepted atheism. They thought God does not exist, right? If God existed, he would not let so many of our people, so many people die, so many, widows to exist, right? So God doesn't exist like that. So what is our answer to that?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
The devotee asked the Baba that
If you
if
know the story, okay. If you know the
yes,
story,
I
don't.
know.
Okay, don't reveal it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, someone who knows the story, let's not spoil it for others. Someone who doesn't know the story, yes, please think. What is our answer? And this
Yeah,
is a
try.
very, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, try.
Go on. Go on. Who's that? I'm not able-
Mahesh, yeah.
Okay. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. So, yeah, devotee should answer like everybody gets rewarded as per their karma.
Mm-hmm.
So, in our Bhagavad Gita itself, it is well explained that whatever you do, you get the fruit of it. Even if you, uh, for the sake of saying that, if we say that a child has no karma, but still he died. Why? Past lives karma can also affect, their parents' karma can also affect. So we can explain it like that.
Okay. Nice. Right. Anyone else wants to attempt?
Yes, I would say the same thing. It is not God who made those females widow, but it is their own karma who created a tsunami or made them widow, or the people who died, but not God. So God has shown us a path how to not fall into these
Hmm.
things,
Right.
how to save ourselves from what wrong can happen to us, but not invoke something wrong because we did something wrong.
So you know what this devotee did? He kept quiet and he allowed the barber to finish the shaving. And then he got up, he paid him, he went outside, and after 5 minutes he came back. And he came back and he said to the barber, I went out and I just had a realization. So barber said, what? Like, barbers don't exist. Like, what? Barbers don't? I am a barber. I just shaved you, right? What are you saying? Barbers don't exist? No, 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 no. Barbers actually don't exist. What are you saying? You've gone mad. I just stepped out. I saw there are so many people with long, long beards with big, big hair, right? Barbers don't exist. Arey Baba, if they come to me, I'll shave them, right? So he said, yes. Similarly, if you approach God, He will save you. It's people who are not approaching God, therefore they're suffering, they're miserable. And yes, of course, the karma factor is there. As you sow, so shall you reap, right? You've done something. And if there are people who are supposed to die, right? And if you take the death rate, right, world over, there are thousands of people, millions of people rather dying every day, right? Now, if by will of providence they had to die together in one place, that's a tsunami for you. And they died, 10,000 people died together, right? They were destined to die. They would have died in their own beds in their own house separately, and no one would have known. But it's collective karma. They've come together, and they've died in one stroke with a tsunami, right? So there's this Wimbledon player, Arthur Ashe. Once he was actually suffering from cancer. He was the winner of the Wimbledon Cup, and a very, very famous player. So once he was asked a question from a fan. So he was suffering from cancer, and a lot of fans would write letters to Arthur Ashe, you know, uh, sympathizing with him and expressing their love for him in terms of how great he's a player, etc. So one such fan wrote to him, right? Why did God had to choose you only for this such a terrible disease? Right? And he wrote a very beautiful reply to this letter. He said, you know, uh, every year world over, 5 crore children they start playing tennis, out of which 50 lakh they learn to actually play tennis, right? 5 lakh they learn professional tennis, 50,000 make it to the circuit, 5,000 reach the Grand Slam, out of which only few reached to the Wimbledon or something. I don't know, my written here. 50 reached the Wimbledon. Yes. 4 reached the semi-final, 2 in the finals. And he said, when I was holding the cup, I did not ask God, why me? Right? Why should I ask now? Right? So in our, whenever there is something good happening to us, we take all the credit. Oh, it's because of me. And anything bad, Arey, Bhagwan ne aisa kiya. Right? Why God had to do this to me? Right? Mere se badla nikalna hai. Right? We say all these things. Right? So it's again your own karma, and that's how even people who are not read Bhagavad Gita understand that yes, when good things are coming, it's also because of God, and bad things are also, it's actually one way. It's my own karma. It's the reverse actually. All right. So what is this?
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa.
Right, it's a painting, Mona Lisa, very famous painting. So when you see a very beautiful painting, what is the first question that comes to you?
Who's the artist?
Who's the artist?
Painter.
Yeah, who's the artist of Mona Lisa?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes. So when you see a beautiful painting, who's the painter? That's the first question that comes to our mind, right? This is a landscape painting. Again, who's the artist? Some famous guy. What is this?
A photograph.
It's
So
a
we'll ask who's the
photograph.
photographer.
Of
A beach, a seaside.
so a real landscape, correct? Somebody who painted a landscape, we asked the question, who made it? Right? Who's the artist? What about the real one? Who made it? Right? It came by chance.
God.
So God.
God.
Yes, God is the artist. These are some plastic flowers, right? And we ask the question, who made it, right? Then when you see real flowers, which is so fragrant, right? It has so many different features. It can reproduce as well, right? You should ask the question, who made it, right? So proof of existence of God by intelligent design. So there is a concept called intelligent design. So in the macro world, so in the universe, right, there are so many planets, which are floating. They are maintaining an orbit around the sun, right? And we see how even our scientists, they've actually created an artificial satellite, right, and put that in the orbit, which is going around the Earth, right? So is it by chance? The satellite doesn't come by chance, right? There are so many hundreds of scientists who actually work to build this satellite and to put it in the orbit. In fact, there is an entire control room. I have a picture also. There's a real picture from the control room of NASA, right? There are hundreds of scientists or engineers, etc., to keep that one satellite in the orbit, in its orbit, right? Forget creating. After creation, also just to keep that one satellite in the correct path in the orbit. There are so many brains put together trying to do that with so many machinery, etc., right? So imagine, what about all those different planets in solar system, right? How is it put into its place? How the Earth is going through very specific seasons. The sun is rising at the same time, right? There are seasons are coming at the right time. There are so many things happening in nature in such precise order, right? So it begs the question, who's the intelligence behind it? Because without intelligence, these things cannot happen, right? There has to be a super brain behind all of this. Everyone agrees? Yeah. So there are so many things we choose in our lives. What are some of the things we choose? Quickly. Just unmute your mic and start shooting whatever comes to your mind. There are some things we choose in our life, like say for example, we choose our job, right? Or
We choose our friends.
we choose our friends. Yes. What else? What else?
Us, our life partner.
We choose a life partner. Yes. What else?
Our job, our house, cars, everything material.
Yes. So
We choose what we want to be.
type of car, an apartment, and many more things we choose, right? There are some things which we do not choose. What are those?
Our parents.
Family.
Parents.
Parents, yes. Anything else? अगर चूज करना होता तो सब टाटा बिरला के घर पे पैदा होते. Right? What else we choose? We don't choose.
Country we are born in.
Sorry?
Country we are born in.
Country we are born in. वरना सब अमेरिका में होते, correct? And we don't choose our beauty. वरना everyone would be Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai, right? I don't know other names, contemporary names more, but yeah, these are the names I know. Then we don't choose our
Place where we
intelligence.
die.
Sorry?
Where the date and time of our death, where we die.
Yes, we don't choose the time of our death. Very nice. And we don't choose our intelligence. Otherwise, everyone would be Einstein, right? So these are, who chooses these things for us?
Our karmas.
Our karmas. But who chooses?
Superpower.
Superpower. Okay. Yeah, these are some instant answers we have, but just think about it. Right? Do you really believe who chooses? Logically, we can understand, and especially, of course, you guys, know and believe a lot. But if for someone who's, an atheist, right? A simple question: who chooses these things for us? Is it just random events, or
Mastermind. A mastermind, maybe.
so?
Our
All these,
past karmas.
yeah,
Our past karmas give us the result.
right. So all these things are actually chosen by demigods, right? These are powerful managers of the universal affairs. They decide. These are, they decide what to give when, and basis our karma, like rightly put. So basis our karma, they choose and decide whom to send where, what to give him, etc. It's not by chance, right? We see, like we were also saying, we see order and systematic arrangement in the universe. And there is a quick story, a famous one, I guess most of you all must have heard this somewhere or the other. But Newton, once he was giving a seminar, and he was explaining the solar system model very, very nicely. And ultimately, he said it's a beautiful system created by God. And he was addressing a group of scientists. So, some of them were atheists also. And one guy could not tolerate, like, why are you bringing God in this, right? We're all scientists. Why are you bringing God in this? He could not like control himself. So Newton said, okay, no problem. Okay, बैठ जाओ, right? And then after the seminar was over, Newton asked this guy, I'm working on a project. Would you mind helping me today? So this guy was super excited, like Newton requires my help. He was super excited, like he jannat mil gaya mere ko to. Right? Because Newton was a big deal at that point in time. So he went with Newton to his house, and Newton, he said, you can look around, I'll just come back, right? So this man, he went through different rooms in the house, and in one of the rooms he saw there was a beautiful physical model of the solar system. Newton was just explaining theoretically in the seminar, but here was a physical model and a moving model of the solar system, and he was so impressed. It's like, this is accurate, this is so perfect, right? And Newton then came from behind, and he said, so and this person, he expressed, such a beautiful model of the universe, who created, who made, right? Asked the question, who made, right? So Newton said, made? What made? Right? Nobody made this. You see, I normally keep a lot of wood here. There are some paints also. And you see, last night there was a storm. And next day, lo, behold, when I opened the door, this beautiful, model of the universe was right in front of me. So this guy was like, stop pulling my leg. I know somebody made this, and most probably you only made this, right? Why are you pulling my leg? So he said, when the model cannot come by chance, the actual universe, which is so much more complicated, right? So many intricate details, so many living beings, how can that come by chance? Right? So this guy was convinced. So we see amazing order at a macro level, in even the micro level, even if you look at our DNA, it is so complex, right? And the amount of information which is captured in a small DNA strand is equivalent to, you can fill an entire football field, that large a book with thousands of pages, right? That is the amount of information contained in one DNA strand, right? It's unimaginable, right? And you know, everyone's DNA is different. So it's like saying, is there a book? Can you just pick up the book? Just anybody open a book with it. It's like saying this book came by chance. So, some paper was there, some ink was there, and words just fell in place together to create sentences and to actually mean something. And not even just mean something, it's actually poetry also, right? It's an impossibility that something like this will come by chance, right? A simple book cannot come by chance, right? It has to have an intelligence behind it to actually write this book, and a very great intelligence. So the book of life, which is our DNA, how can that come by chance? So I won't get into a lot of these details. We are running a little short. I'll go a little quick. So there are so many laws in the nature. Law means there has to be a lawmaker, right? Micro world we also just saw, right? Law means lawmaker, right? So this is one of the most common questions when you try to explain, or when you meet someone who doesn't believe in God, he will have, or people will challenge, right? And that actually happened with one of my mentors. So he was traveling by train. We were traveling by train, and there was this TC who stopped him, and he said, he looked at his dress. He was in saffron robes. So he was like, Pandit ji, and he threw the first one. क्या आपने भगवान देखा है? And this guy very confidently thought, now I've caught him, right? I've caught him. So he's like very nicely, smilingly, boldly, like, have you seen God? Right? So my mentor, he said, yes. I was so shocked and surprised, a little taken aback. What? Then he threw the next one. Oh, can you show me God? Right? And the answer was yes. So the answer to both these questions, have you seen God and can you show me God, is a big yes. So before we get into explaining how that is, again a short story, right? So there was this professor, he was an atheist, and he was addressing a class wherein there were a lot of students who were, believers of God. So he wanted to, drive his point through, and he said, again the same thing. There is so much evil in the society, this and that. How can there be God, right? And then he said, class, can you see God? They said no. Can you touch God? People thought and said no. Can you hear God? No. Can you smell God? No. Can you taste God? No. So he said, by the principle of what is that? Tangible and verifiable. By the law of tangible and verifiable principle, I declare that God does not exist. You cannot see him, touch him, smell him, taste him, right? You cannot really. It's not experience. You cannot experience it, right? So God does not exist. So one of the students, he got up, and actually before he got up, the class was in complete silence. They had no answer. People were feeling inside that, I know God exists, damn, but I'm not able to answer this person, right? And he was making sense, right? So one boy, after 5 minutes, he stood up, like, sir, can I ask you some questions? I said, yes, go on. He said, is there something called as darkness that exists? So he said, yes. What is night? It's darkness, right? So he said, no, sir, you're wrong. There is nothing called as darkness that exists. Darkness is nothing but absence of light. He said, one more question. He said, okay, go on. He said, is there something called cold that exists? He said, yes. What is a refrigerator? So no, again you're wrong. Cold is nothing but absence of heat. And people who are engineers here, some engineer here might know that even in your air conditioners or refrigerator, the process is to just remove the heat. That's how, we. So then he said, sir, and now this professor was a little shaken because he could not answer those two questions. And he said, sir, with your permission, can I address the class? So he said, okay, go on. And he turned towards all the students. He said, can anyone see the brain of the professor? He said, no. Can anyone touch it? He said, no. Can anyone hear it, smell it, taste it? The answer is no. So by the law of verifiable tangible principle, his brain does not exist. So, sorry. So it's not that we have to see God. Only then we can understand that He exists, right? There are fundamental problems with the question, "Can you show me God?" Right? What is the fundamental mistake? Right? So if I don't even know, like for example, I'll tell you that within our class, and really within our class, there is someone who's actually been the president of Denmark. Can you guess who he is? Can you guess who he is? From our class right now, there is someone who's been the president of Denmark. Any guesses? No, right?
No.
We don't even know who's the president of Denmark currently. So Purana to bhul hi jao. Right? So unless and until we know, right, who's the president of Denmark, or in past who's been the president of Denmark, how will we identify even if he's sitting right here right now? So that's the fundamental mistake number one, right? There's nobody here who's president of Denmark, by the way. It's just an example. So that's the fundamental mistake number one, that we don't even understand who God is. So even if he's sitting next to you, you won't even come to know, right? So fundamental mistake number two, right? God is not our order carrier, right? When people challenge, can you show me God? अगर भगवान है तो मेरे सामने है, वरना मैं सोचूं भगवान नहीं, right? There are people who are like this. So imagine someone says, अगर मोदी है तो मेरे सामने है, नहीं तो मैं सोचूंगा मोदी नहीं है. And someone who's from the BJP thinks, अरे ये तो बड़ा problem हो गया है. People are doubting the existence of Modi, and he calls up Modi, sir, there is one man here who doesn't believe that you exist, right? What will Modi do? हाँ ठीक है, helicopter लेके आता हूँ मैं अभी, उसको दिखाता हूँ मैं हूँ. Will he do that? No, right? He will care a damn, right? ठीक है, he's a mad man, let him be mad, it's okay. I'll do my own work, right? So God is not our order carrier that, oh, I want to see God, let him manifest in front of me, only then I'll believe, right? God is not your order carrier, right? And the next mistake is, are we really qualified to see God, right? What is our qualification? What is the strength of our eyes to behold the Lord, right? So we have a visible range of spectrum, right? Yeah, Vibgyor हमने बचपन में पढ़ा था, right? Red to violet, correct? We cannot see infrared, we cannot see ultraviolet, right? We cannot see X-rays, etc. Right? So even materially speaking, our vision is limited, our power of seeing is limited, right? And you want to see God, right? And the qualification bit, right? If you want to see Amitabh Bachchan, right? Will you call, I want to see you, chal, aaja. Not possible, right? We'll have to first, be someone to actually, figure out, his PA's number, call him up and then request him, for an appointment, right? So if you call and the PA will say, okay, you want to meet Amitabh Bachchan, who are you? That's the first question. Who are you? What's your qualification? Oh, I am just a fan. Okay, call after 100 years. He'll be available. Right? So, if you are at a good position, if you are a little bit qualified, right, then even Amitabh Bachchan might be interested to meet you. So these are the 4 fundamental mistakes. But still, even after these 4 issues, there is a process to see God. You can still see. Sorry, wow, the slide is completely anyway. So this is from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. He's saying, no one is superior to me, O Arjuna. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on the necklace. So he is giving the example that he's present everywhere, just like the pearls are strung on the necklace. Everything is resting on the Lord. So why he's giving this example? Why is he giving the example of a necklace? Okay. So Suvi, okay, you want to say something, Suvi? She has an hand raised.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
so it can easily slip down, maybe, or something like that. The pearls,
It can be easily
and
slipped.
then yeah. I mean, so the stick. I don't know if it's a stick or not, but the stick is the god, and uh, we are the pearls, and we are supposed to hold it very tight.
Okay. So Krishna is saying everything is resting upon me. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Kasturi, please go on.
I think that it is somewhat related to harmony. I mean, it is in perfect harmony. It is in perfect balance. Just the way a beautiful necklace is strung around.
Yes.
So probably that is I don't know. That is my perception.
Yes,
How to
you're right that it's in harmony because everything is resting upon me, Krishna is saying. So everything is resting on Krishna. Of course, it'll be in harmony because it's resting on Krishna. But he's choosing to give an example as pearls are strung on a necklace.
So because a lot of pearls on a small string of a thread.
Yes.
So that thread is, even if it is very, in terms of very thin or not very strong, but it can still hold a lot of, beads together.
I thought you almost got the answer. You are almost there.
Nita here, hi.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say that in a necklace, I mean, here the pearl necklace, I think the string is the most important part, which
Yes.
is holding all the pearls together.
Perfect.
So I guess that's what God is saying, that He's holding the entire creation together,
Yes.
and that's why that everything rests upon Him. That I think that's what He means.
Correct. So you are almost there, right? Just one more point to it. Anyone wants to try, or should I just go on?
If he would not be okay, try.
Who is speaking?
I don't know who's the other one.
Okay, I was trying. A pearl necklace is beautiful when it's on the neck.
Okay. You're actually stretching the example somewhere else. Okay. Okay, Meghnad, do you want to say something?
Yes, it's like how the string is holding all the beads, the same way Lord is holding the entire universe. And if it was not for him, then we would all wither away. In the sense, if the string is only not there, where would the pearls go?
Yes. So, like I said, again, same point. I think previously was also said, and I said yes, almost there. So, what else point looking for is already there in the slide also.
Can I add?
Yes, please, Imran.
Yeah, so in Bible also, and it is said that God created and after that he rested. So once the creation is done, he didn't need to, support it or do anything himself. He designed it in such a way. He was basically like a jeweler. So he's just created the necklace, but he has created with such perfection that once it is done, it is in its place. So, like, if you take an example of the necklace, the jeweler has already made the necklace. He does not need to do anything more to it. It's and it's by itself, it's perfect.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. It's really very interesting. Yes. So, okay, I'll probably move ahead with the answer and move ahead. Otherwise, it's already 6:10 right now. There's so much to cover. So, the top line of the slide, it says the unseen proven by the seen, right? So the thread in the necklace is never seen, right? If it's a tightly packed pearl necklace, you won't see the necklace. You won't see the thread, sorry. But it's the thread which is holding everything together, right? Which is the second part of the answer which everyone said. But the thread is not seen. So Krishna is using this example to say that actually I'm everywhere, right? In every atom I exist, right? But I'm not seen, right? Okay. So can you show me God? Yes, God is everywhere in the creation, in the entire creation. Everything is running because of the presence of the Lord. And there is also a process to see God, right? So just like, if you want to see amoeba, for example, right? First of all, like we saw, the four fundamental issues. The first thing is that you have to first of all learn about amoeba. Otherwise, people will ask you to, peek through the microscope. You won't understand what you're looking at. So the very first thing is to learn about amoeba. What is amoeba, right? And then the next thing is you have to agree to go through the process of first of all understanding, then actually going to a lab. Not that ki हाँ चलो दिखाओ मुझे amoeba किधर है, right? हवा में amoeba देखना है, right? You have to agree to go to the lab, agree to peek through the microscope, and then you will be able to see what is amoeba, right? So first learning, right? Then agreeing to follow the process even further, then going to the lab, peeking through the microscope, and then seeing. Similarly, uh, long forgotten DVDs or CDs. It's sort of fashion these days, but yeah, you cannot see a movie right in the disc itself. A movie dekh lo chalo, right? Disc pakad liya maine. Not possible, right? You have to actually have there is a process to see a movie through a DVD. You have to put it in the video disc, etc., and then you'll be able to see, right? So there is a process to see everything, right? Similarly, there is a process to see God, right? Not that you can just demand ki chalo abhi dikhao, right? I'm moving a little quicker, so anywhere you want to stop me, you can and ask questions. But we are running out of time, so I'm just moving a little quick. So this is a beautiful story. So once there was this guy who was a mountain climber, and he wanted to actually, set a record, do something really, really cool, so that he's famous. So he decided that I will climb, there's this particular mountain where he lived. I'll climb this mountain at night and on an Amavasya night. So not even moonlight. So without any light, I will climb this mountain, and thereby I will be, very, very famous for doing such a feat. So he actually went and he started, climbing the mountain at night. And after climbing for so many hours, right? And everywhere he was going. So these mountaineers, what they do is they nail at every, at different steps. They would nail so that even if sometimes they fall, they have some support. They have otherwise there is no other support. So like this, he was going on and on, climbing more and more, higher and higher and higher. And at one point in time, his leg slipped. Right? It was a snowy mountain winter night, right? So he slipped at one point, and then he started falling, right? And as he was falling, suddenly with a big jerk, you know, the nail was caught somewhere which he had nailed earlier, and he stopped, and he was dangling in the air, right? And now he's in such a precarious situation. He cannot. He's trying to reach out to some rock here and there, but there is nothing around to touch also. So he started calling out for help, like, please help, please help. But it's a dark night, and he's way up in the mountains. There's no one around, no one to help, right? So he started feeling very, very helpless and very morose, and he started praying, oh God, please help me. I'm in such, terrible condition. Please save me. Please save me. Like this, he started praying. And suddenly, from the sky there was a voice, "Son, do you believe I exist?" And hearing the voice, this guy is like, "Yes, I'm actually hearing the voice. Yes, I do believe you exist." Right? So, do you have faith in me? Yes, I have full faith in you. इसके पहले तक तो नहीं था, but अभी I'm really hearing you. So obviously I have faith in you, right? So, do you have full faith in me? Yes, I have full faith in you. Right? Will you follow what I instruct you to do? Yes, yes, yes. Please tell me. And I want to be saved. Please tell me. So he said, okay, if you have full faith in me and you want to follow my instruction, cut the rope on which you're hanging. So how many of you all would cut the rope? Shayada will cut the rope.
I will
I
also
know the
cut.
story. I know the story, so I will.
Okay. Yes, Nishtavati Madhuri will also cut the rope. Okay.
I don't know the story, but I'll cut the rope if it's God saying cut the rope.
Okay, great. So all people of great faith here. Very nice. So this guy is like, is there anyone else up there? कोई और है? Cut the rope, yeah. Right. So it's actually, we may say it, but it's also very, very difficult at such a point, right? So he decided not to cut the rope. Like कि कोई और मिल जाए कुछ, right? Some dialed the wrong number, right? Someone else. So he decided not to cut the rope. And when there was a rescue party the next day, uh, they discovered this person frozen to death, right? And they were surprised that this person was just 5 feet above, a safe area to land, right? And there was a nice warm cave next, just 2 minutes away from that place. He could have easily saved himself, right? But he did not have that faith, of course, and it was so dark, so he could not even look down and figure what it is. So he did not have the faith and did not cut the rope. So the moral of the story is there are so many times we may be in a situation that we cannot see ahead, right? We cannot comprehend what is the bigger picture, right? We are just having limited information and knowledge, and especially during times of difficulty, we think, why is God not doing this, right? Why is He not pulling me out of this? Why is He, putting me in difficulty? But we may not be able to see the bigger picture, right? That actually it's done by design so that you are saved, or so that you actually, grow out of that situation, and in future it's also helping you in so many different ways, right? So that was just a quick one. Now coming to the big question, who's God? It's already 6:15. I'll go a little fast. So if there is something which you do not understand, please stop me. But I'll try and go a little fast here. So who's God, right? Uh, the Christians, they don't have an issue, right? For them, it's they might have an issue. Some people say Jesus. Some people say Jehovah, right? For Muslims, it's Allah. For some others, it may be someone else, right? But for us, right, and particularly, people in India, for Hindus, people following Hinduism particularly, there are so many gods, right? There are 33 crore gods, right? So who's really God? Is it Brahma? Is it Shiva? Is it Vishnu? Is it Ganesh? Is it Hanuman? Is it, right, Durga? Who's God?
Sir, it depends on our faith.
Depends on our faith. Okay. Any other answers?
These are all avatars.
These are all avatars. Okay.
Just like we take avatars each and every life.
We have our Facebook avatar. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's understand. Sorry, let's understand this. So, oh, sorry. Before we get on to the, sorry, I just revealed the slide. My bad. Okay. So before we get into who's God, right? Can God be defined? Is there a definition for God? Can God be defined? If yes, what is the definition of God?
is beyond definition.
Who was that? Sorry.
Amit.
Amit. Okay. So you say it's beyond definition. Okay. Everyone agrees? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, if we were just to define God with our own limited intelligence, it's impossible. That's correct. But by the grace of the Lord Himself, He is defining who's God. Right? So, that is an information available to us. So, Parashar Muni, he is giving us the definition of God through scriptures, right? So he says, Aishwarasya Samagrasya. Okay, let me go quickly. Sorry. So someone, God is a person who's having 6 opulences in full, right? What are the 6 opulences? Is someone who's having all wealth or full wealth, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. These are 6 opulences, right? All wealth, fame, knowledge, strength, beauty, and renunciation, right? So if you see, even one of these opulences, if someone has, even in a minute quantity, is very, very attractive, right? So if Anil Ambani or if Mukesh, Anil is bankrupt right now, if Mukesh Ambani joins here, in this Zoom chat right now, everybody will be interested. Mukesh Ambani hai, right? Very, very attractive. Immediately there is an attraction. We want to hear what he would want to say, right? So why is he attractive?
so wealth. He's got full wealth.
Not full wealth. He's got some wealth. Right? He cannot,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He
cannot
can't have
claim,
full wealth.
yeah, he
He's
cannot
got
claim
some
that
wealth.
all
Yeah.
the wealth in the world is mine. He cannot do that, right? He has some wealth, right? And say for example, someone Einstein comes here, everyone is attracted, right? So knowledgeable, so intelligent. So each and every of these opulences, they're very, very attractive. Even if someone has in minute quantity, the person becomes very attractive, right? So imagine a person who has all wealth, and not just that, all strength, right? The strongest person, and not just that, all famous, all beautiful, all knowledge, and on top of it, he's also all renounced, right? Even renunciation is very, very attractive, right? People pay obeisances to sadhus. Why? Because they're renounced, right? So all these individually are very, very attractive to have in minute quantity. For someone to have all these 6 put together at the same time in full, right? So therefore, that's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's a person. He's not some light. He's not, you know, something which cannot be defined, etc. He's actually a person. He's a personality. We say God is great, right? That's an attribute. That's an attribute of personality. We say God is merciful. Again, an attribute of the personality, right? Let's understand this. So this is again an old slide. So I should have actually replaced it with Narendra Modi now, but okay. So there was this guy who actually came from Germany, I guess. Okay, yeah, let's take the example of Germany. He landed in the Delhi airport or Bombay airport, whatever you prefer. And he wanted to know, as soon as he came out, he wanted to know who's the Prime Minister of India. So he asked someone, the first guy, he asked, "Sir, can you tell me who's the Prime Minister of India?" So this guy said, "Well, according to me, I think Sushma Swaraj, or maybe actually Lalu Prasad Yadav." Right? So this guy was like, this German was like, "What? Maybe, perhaps, right? Tell me, according to Constitution of India, who's the Prime Minister of India?" Right? So he said, "Okay, this guy doesn't know." He approaches another guy. So the other guy says, "Well, who's the Prime Minister of India?" "Oh, everyone is the Prime Minister of India. You are the Prime Minister of India. He, him, everyone is the Prime Minister of India." Like, strange country, everyone is the Prime Minister of India. Right? This guy is a nonsense. Let me approach someone else. So then the third person says, "Oh, as per the Constitution of India, Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister." Right? Sorry. Okay. So, so likewise, right? When we talk about God, right, and in India particularly, you ask anyone who's God, they'll have their own opinion. So, according to me, Ganesh is God, or according to me, Shiva is God, is father of Ganesh, right? Then some lady might be, no, Durga is God, female power, right? Shakti, right? So many things. So people have different opinions, right? Like Shelza also said, it depends on your own faith, etc. You just mentioned, right? So absolute truth is independent of all opinions, right? Absolute truth is independent of opinions. You may have some opinion, oh, I like Ganesh. You may have some opinion, oh, no, Jesus Christ is my God. You may have another opinion, right? So everyone may have different opinions, but the absolute truth is independent of all such opinions, right? Just like the truth is Narendra Modi is right now Prime Minister of India, right? That's independent of someone's opinion. He may think Manmohan Singh is still Prime Minister, or maybe Lalu Prasad is the Prime Minister, etc. They may have their opinion, but we don't care. According to Constitution, who's the Prime Minister, right? So according to scriptures, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Lord Shri Krishna. So Krishna, he himself says, right, Mame Vansha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. He is declaring himself in Bhagavad Gita, right? The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts, right? So he himself is declaring. On top of it, Lord Brahma is saying, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Krishna is also known as the Govinda, is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? So Brahma is also confirming. Lord Shiva is saying, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param, right? Of all kinds of worship of Lord Vishnu is the supreme, right? So they are all confirming, right? And Lord Krishna also declaring in many places, right, that everything is resting upon me, like we just saw, right? And so Arjuna, after hearing all of this, right, he is accepted, but he's still asking for proof. Okay, what is the proof, right? Because people in future may question. So Krishna then manifested his Virat Swarupa. Right? So there are many such, there are many so-called gods today, upstarts, who claim to be God. Kalki Avatar happened in South India at least 4 or 5 times, right? Already. So there are so many people claiming to be God. So we should ask, show me the proof. Show your Virat Roop, right? Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. You just lift one small table on your small finger, right? So even that is not possible for people. So who are these others? Like we started with the question, who are the other 33 crore personalities? They are demigods actually. They are very powerful managers of various universal affairs. So like to Imran's point, right? God has created the world in such a way that he doesn't need to do anything, right? So, sorry. So I'll just narrate one small this thing as well. So again, there was another person who wanted to understand who's the supreme God, and he came to India, and he went to different temples to understand who's God. He saw someone, he went to Ganesh temple, right? Or he went to Durga temple, and she was with all 10 arms with 10 weapons. So he thought, oh, this is more like a warrior. Okay. So she cannot be the supreme. So then he went to Lord Shiva's temple. So Lord Shiva meditating. So he thought, oh, he's meditating on someone, which means he's also not the supreme. Then he went to Ganesh temple. Somebody informed him he's the son of Shiva and Parvati. So he thought, oh, he's already a son of them. So in a subordinate position, but not the supreme again. Like that, he went to different temples, and he still was not satisfied to call the deity at that temple to be the supreme. Then finally, he went to a temple where he saw Krishna happily playing on his flute, right? Like, yes, this is God, right? So Krishna is Anandamayo Abhyasa. The Lord doesn't have to do anything, right? He simply, his practice is Anandamaya Abhyasa. His practice is to enjoy, right? That's the supreme personality of Godhead, the Purusha, right? Purusha means enjoyer, right? So he's simply enjoying. And with a simple spark of his splendor. Krishna says, just by my small spark of my splendor, I am creating, maintaining, and destroying these universes. So God is, we know God is great. We don't know how great He is. So He's so great that He Himself doesn't need to do anything, right? Just with a small, expansion and expansion of the expansion, right? A small portion of the energy, everything is maintained, created, and destroyed, right? So yes, that confirms Imran's point.
So,
Yeah.
so quickly. So I
Yes,
just
yes.
wanted to check, but then from the very beginning, like the childhood, we've been hearing that, Krishna is one of the avatars of God Vishnu. So then then how come we say that Krishna is the main God? Because eventually, if we look at it, he's from God Vishnu. So then is there a confusion, or they are two separate gods?
Ete cham shakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Nridyanti Yuge Yuge. So Srimad Bhagavatam clearly describes that Ete cham shakala pumsa. Kala means expansions or portions, right? So Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. He is the original Bhagwan. He is the avatari. Avatari means from him all these incarnations come. Not that he is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. In fact, what is it? Yasyaika Nishvasita Kalamtha Vilambya Jivanti Lom Vilija Jagadannamatha Vishnur Mahansa Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Brahma in Brahma Samhita, he's glorifying Krishna that Vishnu, from whose breathing there are so many universes coming out of his pores, right? So that Vishnu is just a Kala Vishesho. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham. His Kala means just a plenary expansion of Krishna, right? So we can clearly understand from scripture. Like I said, there could be several opinions, but
Okay.
we have to see what the scriptures are saying. If the scriptures describe, Ganesh is supreme, we accept Ganesh is supreme, right? The
No,
scripture.
sir, but according to the time period, so Ramayana happened before Mahabharata, and then they say God Vishnu is the creator. Yeah,
So one has to understand.
Brahma.
Yeah. One has to. I
So
get where you're coming from. So one has to understand
yeah,
what is the meaning of avatar. Avatar means avtaran, to come down. It doesn't mean that, oh, I was born. Right? Krishna doesn't take
okay,
birth like we do. And so
okay,
Krishna is there in the spiritual world, and his expansions are maintaining the material creation. We'll come to that in the third day elaborately, and we'll have a better idea. But very quickly, he doesn't have to take birth per se, right? And he comes ages after ages. Krishna says, I come millennium after millennium to protect dharma. So it's not that, oh, he's come after Lord Ram, right? So Lord Ram may be higher. Yes, Lord Ram is
okay.
one of the incarnations only at the end of the day, but yes, Krishna is the supreme source from whom all these incarnations come. Okay, we are just seeing it from our time scale of what we are aware of right now.
What we have understood, what we have heard actually. So
Okay, so just like explaining the concept of demigods, just like there is a Union Cabinet of India which has Prime Minister, Finance Minister, so many different portfolios are there. Similarly, there is a universal cabinet where the supreme personality of God is Krishna, and then there are these powerful managers. So creation department is Brahma, destruction is Lord Shiva, electricity is Vivashwan, who's the sun god, agriculture is Soma, moon god, right? Rain, Indra, like that. There are 33 crore demigods, right? And someone will say, अरे नहीं मैं तो गणेश का पूजा कब से करते आ रहा हूँ या मैं दुर्गा का पूजा कब से करते आ रहा हूँ, right? So it's simple. If you water the roots of the trees, you don't need to go to each and every leaf and water, right? They'll be satisfied. Similarly, if you feed the stomach, all the organs receive all the energy, right? Similarly, all these demigods are actually servants of the Lord at the end of the day, right? They are also great devotees and servants of the Lord. If you actually serve the Lord, they are more satisfied with you than trying to individually water leaves, right? How many will you do? Okay, this is coming to the last point. Almost 6:30. We are close to the target, right? Oh, it's past 6:30. Okay, I'll just take 5 more minutes, and then we can open it for questions. So, then how do we explain different religion? I mean, what we spoke of was, you can call it Hinduism. It's not really Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma. But yeah, I mean, broadly in today's day and age, you can call it what we discussed was part of Hinduism. So what about our other religions, right? Why do different religions exist in the first place? If there's only one God at the end of the day, right? Why are there so many different religions? So it's the same God. You call it Krishna, you call him Allah, you call him Jehovah, you call him something else, right? There are bona fide religions, right? But it's the same Lord who's created everything, right? Who's maintaining everything. So why is there a need of different religions?
Uh, can I try this answer?
Yes, please.
So, well, this answer, it depends majorly upon the culture that a person is born into. Like for example, just for example, okay, I'm an Indian now. I'm
Hmm.
born in India and I'm an Indian and I speak Hindi. But on the other hand, if I was born in Germany, I
Hmm.
would be speaking German. That would be my language
Correct.
as per the culture.
Correct.
So I think the same thing could be applied here. So depending on the culture and where the person is born and what the culture is like around him, they
Hmm.
have different systems
Hmm.
to worship the same God.
Right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Any other thoughts?
All the people, for example, if we consider Christianity, so
Hmm.
Jesus chose a different path. If you look for Buddhism, so Gautam Buddha, he chose a different path. So these are all paths, but ultimately it leads
Oh,
to
so if you consider, right, Jesus is a messenger of God, right? Prophet is a messenger of God. Buddha is God himself, right? And there are so many others, bona fide religions. Again, I'll talk about non-bona fide religions in a bit, but there are many bona fide religions, right? So why these messengers are describing different things? Or is there a similarity? Is there a difference? Why there is a difference? And you see, in the name of religion, there is so much fighting going on right now. So how do we reconcile the fact that there are so many messengers of God and there are so many messengers that have given instructions in different ways? Why have they done so? Why not just one? Because God is one.
Okay, there was one more thing if I could add.
Hmm.
So I remember yesterday at the beginning of the session, you had mentioned about that chain,
Hmm.
Guru Shishya
Parampara. Yes.
Parampara, right? So
Yes.
that chain is followed, and then after a certain time, the chain is lost, and
Yes.
then it was said that Krishna
To
himself
revive
came
it.
down
Yeah. Yeah.
and to start it again. So another thing which could be here is that the religion has been there ever, like since time immemorial, since the very beginning. But then again, the chain has been broken. So a new form was, he came down again for, revision kind of a thing and started again. And because of that, some people they were confused. Okay, like this is a new thing. This is not what we followed. So because of that, there's a discrepancy, and
Hmm.
people carried on their separate beliefs, whatever they believed in.
Okay. Yes.
That's the theory
That's
that I
a very
have.
logical explanation. Yes.
That's the theory that I have.
Yes, that's a quite a logical explanation. Yes. Any other thoughts? This is the last piece of our presentation. I'm sure there are so many people who are exhausted already. But yeah, we'll end it soon just with this. So yeah. Any other thoughts on why there are different religions?
To make it convenient
Okay.
for the people from all walks of life, from all the cultures, from everywhere in the world,
Excellent.
to for self-realization. So take any path.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So there are different. So I'll just give you quickly explain with an example. Uh, so say for example, there is you come across three different individuals, right? One who's basically a chain smoker, He smokes 40 cigarettes a day, right? Then there is the other guy who's smoking 20 cigarettes a day. And then there is the third person who's just started smoking, right? नया नया एक दो cigarette पिया होगा आज तक बस उतना ही, right? So, and you have to tell them, you have to actually make them leave cigarette, right? You have to communicate the message that smoking is bad. Will your instructions to all three of them be different or the same?
Of course, it would be different.
It will be different, right? So, to the person who's smoking 40 cigarettes a day, you will tell him, sir, just smoke 20 cigarettes a day. You will write a prescription for him. Only 20 cigarettes a day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No smoking on the other days. Just 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and only 20 cigarettes a day. Here, this is your prescription. This becomes your scripture, right? Second person who's smoking 20 cigarettes a day, sir, only 10 cigarettes a day, only on Saturdays and Tuesday, no other day. Other days are prohibited for you. You write that prescription, give it to him. To the third guy, you tell him that, sir, smoking is bad. You just started, please give it up. Right? So the real instruction is give up smoking. Correct? The real instruction, give up smoking. But say, for example, these two people meet, the one who was smoking 40 and the other who was smoking 20. They meet. And, the guy who was smoking 40, he said, oh, one has to smoke 20 cigarettes a day. And only on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. The other guy will say, no, you're wrong. It's only on Saturday and Tuesday, not 20, only 10. You're wrong. The other guy will fight, no, arey, mere isme dekh kaise likha hai? How can I be wrong? The other guy will also show the prescription. Look, even it's here, it's written, right? So both will fight like that, right? And the third guy will come, arey, nahi, smoking is bad, actually. The third guy has a real essence, right? But the minute the person who was smoking 40 cigarettes a day, and now he has a restriction, only 20 and only on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, the minute he starts thinking, applying his brain, that why only 20? Why not 100? Why not unlimited? Right? Why only on Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Why not all 7 days? Is it really bad? Right? Or should I not be doing this? When he comes to this understanding or this realization somehow, or this point, right, then you can obviously tell him, sir, smoking is really bad, right? It'll kill you. Please don't smoke, right? And what we are doing is trying to help you leave it step by step. Right? So when he comes to an understanding or to that point where he starts questioning, right, that is when he is fit for receiving knowledge, more knowledge. So the knowledge is given according to the capacity of the individual to accept that knowledge. If you tell the 40 cigarette guy on day one that, sir, give up cigarette smoking, you cannot smoke even one day, right? You cannot smoke one cigarette also. He'll give you up. He'll run away, right? But if he agrees to the process step by step, yes, he can be. And in between also, if he realizes that, okay, ultimately that is there, why not jump instead of going gradually? Yes, you can give him more knowledge. You can. So knowledge is given according to the capacity to digest that knowledge, right? So Christ, when he came, and again, no mean to offend anyone. So if my speech is a little offensive to anyone, I'm really sorry already, right? But I'm just stating facts, of what I've learned, and I'm just expressing it. So no offense to any religion here. But Christ, when he came, right, he expressed, and that's there in the Bible. You can actually open and see it. Express, there is so much more I want to give you, but you're not ready. He was saying to Joseph, right? There's so much more I want to give you, right? But you're not ready. And he's telling people, come to the kingdom of God. He did not describe the kingdom of God, but he appealed to people, come to the kingdom of God, right? So if you then open Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, right, it's the same instruction, but so much more in detail, right? There's an entire description of the spiritual world, so much in detail. The kingdom of God has been elaborately described, right? And when Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, he's saying, I have told you everything that is to be told, knowing which you will not need anything to be known further. Which means he's saying that I have given you full knowledge, right? Whereas Jesus was saying that yes, there is so much more I want to give you, but you're not ready. Which means that the capacity to behold that knowledge is not there right now. But I am giving you this one. Do this, and then I'll give you further. Again, no
I
need
have a
to.
question here.
Yes.
So when you say this, like if you look at, so this is done on what basis according to, like, what do you think on what basis is this done? Because
According to
like
the
you
level
said,
of consciousness.
so
Yeah, go on.
if I could just complete my question, please.
Sure, please.
Yeah. So for instance, like you were talking, like this whole Bhagavad Gita episode, it happened at a very long time ago as compared to Christianity, right? This
5,000.
whole incident.
Yeah.
5,000 years ago, and that was before Christianity. So the thing is, like 5,000 years ago, things were like mentioned in detail. But then again, when Jesus came, he said that it's not in detail because you're not ready. So, like, I mean, don't you think that as time passes, the level of consciousness should have increased? And why is it different? Is it because of the region, or what is it exactly, according to you? I
Sure.
would like your opinion on this.
Sure. So, like I was saying, it is according to the level of consciousness, right? Everyone here, right? I'll just speak a statement, so don't get offended, right? So, everyone here, just think and remember, and since I'm speaking, since everyone here is from India, I believe. Is anyone from outside? Dubai also one person. Yeah. Okay. So, so everyone here, did your mother or father tell you or gave you this instruction? Look, you should not have sex with your mother and sister. Did anyone tell you?
No.
Was this part of your upbringing to tell you that, oh, you should not have sex with your mother and sister? No, right?
No.
Absolutely not, because at least in India and so many other places in the world also, right? It is expected to understand this basic thing. It is expected, correct?
Yep. Right.
Right? But yet in Islam, they had to actually, in the Arab country where, when Prophet came and it's clearly mentioned in the scripture, one should not indulge in sex with your mother and sister. Why this instruction was required? Because of the level of consciousness of people there.
And
Even
people
the
actually
Vedas,
indulge in
before
that at
before
that
you
point.
argue, I
I'm
will
not
just let me
arguing.
finish. Let me
I'm
finish.
not arguing. Sorry.
Let me finish. So even in the Vedas, right? The scriptures, like someone said, I think it's meant for everyone. It's meant for the lowest of the person to the highest of the person, right? The knowledge is available for everyone to uplift at whatever stage you are, to start from there and move ahead, right? So even in the Vedas, you'll find sections which talk about animal sacrifice. You'll find sections where there are so many different things mentioned, even in the Vedas, right? Why is it mentioned in the Vedas? Because, like I said, Vedas is for everyone, right? So if you are someone who is wanting to eat, non-vegetarian food, so scriptures is giving you provision that, okay, you cannot control your tongue, you want to eat meat, fine, follow these procedures, right? And when you follow these procedures, you chant certain mantras, etc., right? Basic, doing that, you're allowed to eat meat. And even when you're actually in Kali worship, when you're actually killing that goat, you chant mantras wherein the word mamsa comes. Mamsa means I will become you, which is with full cognizance that yes, I am killing you today. I will be killed in a similar way like you are being killed. So I will accept a goat body. I will also be killed like you. So Vedas or scriptures are actually giving provision, or even for that matter, books of Islam and Christianity, they are actually giving provision to people at different levels of consciousness, so that they can uplift them from wherever they are to move ahead. Right? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't. I was not like arguing or anything. I was just it was just a statement. Like, so at that point of time, like you rightly mentioned, just for targeted at those people, depending on the level of consciousness. So I was actually like supporting a point there, in fact, that it was mentioned there because at that point of time, people actually, because of their I don't know, ignorance, they actually had those practices. So for them, it had to be mentioned explicitly that this is not right.
Even and I and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I am not like having a lot of deep knowledge there. But even like there is a practice of halal and haram, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So halal meat, what I understood, and I have some Muslim friends also. I remember as a child, one of my best friends actually, his name was Wasim. So he came crying one day and he's like, I cannot kill the goat, right? Because he was just very small. He was like, I think 9 years old. We were 9 years old at that time. So it's like, I'm not able to kill a goat. So I was literally crying at that point in time. So, so the concept of halal, what I understand, you can correct me, is that you have to follow certain procedures, and I don't know so much of the details of the procedures. You may be, well versed with that, but you have to actually cut the goat slowly, not jhatka, not like one stroke. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is not exactly a jhatka, and it is not like a slowly. It's like a one swift motion and a slice. So it's just like so if you say scientifically, you just cut the actual cord, and you have to cut deep enough that it cuts off the
Just
spine.
like how you cut the bread slice, right? You
No,
go back and
it
forth.
shouldn't be that slow. It shouldn't be that slow.
Okay. Okay.
So the actual like do you want to know the detail of this? Like,
No, it's
do
okay.
you want? That's what I wasn't sure if you'd want to. That's why I stopped right there. But see, but now since you brought it up, right? Like you mentioned, even in the Vedas, it is mentioned like if you want to eat meat, there is a certain way of to slaughter the animal, to sacrifice the animal. After that, you can eat. Even in the Vedas, it's mentioned, like you
No,
just said.
so the point here is, it is meant for, not people who are at, say for example, uh, it's not meant for people who are already at a certain level of consciousness. They are supposed to improve beyond that,
No,
right?
that is
Yeah.
right. That is right.
So the knowledge that is given is starting from a point where, like we said, to come to a point of human being, right? The four regulative principles: no meat eating, no
Yes.
gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, right?
Mhm.
And today, in today's day and age, everyone is doing it.
Yeah.
What Hindu, what Muslim, what Christian, everyone is doing it, right? So even to come to a point of, human being, that you have the right to be called human, right? These four regulative principles are the basic criteria. So, and what knowledge Krishna is passing on in Bhagavad Gita is actually taking you from there even beyond, right? So
Right. That is right.
it's not a question of when it was given, because that is, we are talking eternity. So, few thousand years or few hundred years or who came first doesn't really matter, frankly.
Okay.
So what the concept is that, what level of knowledge you want to be at. That's the main idea. So
I think more
even,
important than that is what you have, what level of knowledge you have, where you stand, and then improve thereof.
yeah. So if you're fortunate enough to receive a higher knowledge and you're able to digest that knowledge, right? Jump, right? Why not jump, right? So
Yeah, sure.
similarly, the point what I'm trying to make is, even in halal, and this is what I understood
Sure,
and
sure.
I've heard also. I'll just share this, and of course we can then discuss even further. Maybe not now, but tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
no problem.
what I understood was there are so many rules and regulations. Even in Kali worship, there are so many strict rules and regulations to follow. It's actually to discourage the person, that इतना मेहनत कौन करेगा एक मीट के लिए, छोड़ो ना, right? Is actually to discourage the person. And even while cutting, it's not to be in one stroke, but to slowly cut. Why? Because even at that point in time, looking at the pain of the goat, at least some mercy will be struck in the person's heart, and he may give it up. And if you know, when people go on Hajj, they don't eat, right? So why is that? If it's really bad, if it's really good, then why not during Hajj, right? Like smoking, if it's really good, then why the restriction of 20, 40 cigarettes a day, or why restrictions on certain days, right? So if one comes to a point that yes, let me understand this more scientifically, let me understand this holistically, then I mean, if one is open like you are right now, then the real knowledge can be passed on, right?
Yes.
That smoking is bad or meat eating is actually so poisonous because you're taking a life which you don't have a right to, right? It's another life, and you have no right to take that life.
Right.
So with that, I'll stop here. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for stretching this.
It was it was actually very informative, and I actually appreciate the level of knowledge you have and the level of open-mindedness that you have, and you've put it very beautifully across, and I appreciate that big time. I'm getting a new perspective of things as well. That's actually good. So
Yeah,
we are on the same page. No, nothing there. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I get what you're
I'm
saying.
sorry if I offended anyone, not just you, but anyone. But I'm here to just speak the facts which I learned from Bhagavad Gita. That's what I'm doing. So thank you so much for patiently hearing and tolerating. Right. And any questions? If there is a time for one question, we'll take. Otherwise, we'll end it here. And you can post your questions on the board that we've created, or in the chat box, whatever works. So any one question, if there is, I can take. Otherwise, we'll stop. Okay, no questions. All right, we'll end it here. And if there are questions, you can post in the chat box or the link. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow 4:15. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.